We've seen the regional banks take a beating in the last couple of weeks on the back of the failure. 3 out of 4 largest bank failures that we've seen happen here. So a lot of the regional banks are under pressure. They're seeing deposits leave. JP Morgan took over First Republic Bank last week. Interestingly enough, the idea was floated this morning in mainstream media as to what I suspected when I heard of the first 3 bank failures back in March, is that we were going to start to see this consolidation of assets in the large banks that are very much under the thumb of the federal government. So the idea was floated on CNBC this morning as to, would it really be such a bad thing if we were more like Canada and Australia, where they only have 5 to 6 really large banks? I mean, people still get to choose between 5 and 6 banks rather than the hundreds of, regional and community banks that they have to choose from right now, or they can choose those big banks. But that's what we're going to see. That's what we have seen. JP Morgan now controls about 10% of all U.S. bank deposits. And this is my opinion, I believe that behind closed doors, they're making some real sweetheart deals to come in and rescue these struggling regional banks because they want to be first in line to gobble up those assets once the banks do fail. What we're seeing right now is the Fed is competing with banks for deposits because you have treasury rates, and the regional banks are having to go to the Fed's emergency lending program. So you're seeing all of this money come out of the economy. That's what's causing this liquidity crunch, or this credit crunch that we're going into, because according to federal regulations, banks have to have a certain amount of deposits on hand to give to their depositors if they come calling for their money. We're not out of the woods. We're going to see more bank failures. That is my opinion. We are going to see more bank failures, and I think that where it ultimately leads is to the consolidation of assets in these large banks, these large financial institutions that are under the thumb of the government, eventually forcing us onto some kind of digital currency that is controlled by the central bank, because they're not going to give up that control. They're just in a state of grabbing more and more and more power, because we average Americans just aren't smart enough to handle our own business, and we need the help of big government and big brother to help us live.